Dear Thai, dear Venerable, dear Noble Sangha, welcome to Day of Mindfulness. This morning we'll have a question and answer with Monastic and Uncle Yu. We call him Uncle Yu. And we will try our best to share our experiences in terms of the practices. And before we start, please enjoy some short silent sitting. So let us relax our body, letting go of worries, anxiety, and just bring up the awareness that we have arrived, we are home. There's no place to go. There's nothing to do. This is a happy moment, and just take in some in-breath and out-breath, and let life be possible. So let us listen to 3 sounds of the bell. Thank you. So first of all, let us introduce ourselves. On my far right is Uncle Yu. He's been here with us for a very long time. He's one of the OI member, or Order of Interbeing, and he have a lot of experiences in the practices, and as well as knowledge in life. And next to him is Sister Ji Ngim. She's from Magnolia. She's also a very strong practitioner, ordained in Plum Village, and have moved to the States to support one of the 3 centers in the States. And next to her is Brother Blue. He's one of our elder brother, and he's currently reside at Deer Park Monastery. If you have time visiting California, you can come up and visit him. There's a song, you know the song Hotel California, and there's a song called Deer Park, California. So when there's some right condition, you might have a chance to listen to that song. And my name is Brother T3. It's a nickname I assign myself after a very long Chơi Tình Chú. So for the children that come see me, I just call me T3. And sometimes they say Terminator 3, or, I'll be back. And I've been here since 2013. I'm one of the young brother here at the monastery. So any hard question, just kind of like lean over that side. And like easy question like, why do you shape your head? Just ask me, and I can answer that. Just a few short introduction, but question and answer is a time for us to interact with each other. We can learn from our experiences, and simple question doesn't have to be intellectual. When we come to the monastery, we want to bring home what we can contribute to our life. We know that we do sitting, walking, eating, sleeping, working, but sometimes we are in forgetfulness. We don't bring mindfulness and awareness to life. So in terms of our practices, you can ask us any question regarding how to be more practical in your life, how to nourish yourself, how to be more aware, and how to be more mindful. So those simple questions we can learn from each other. And we try our best to keep our question and answer short. So if you were to come up here, try to be more direct and practical. So and each question will be answered by the four of us. And as you see here, there's 2 or 3 chairs. To save time, we can line up, and then we can take one by one to ask and to answer. And so let us kick off the first question. Any brave young soul want to start out? You can come up and we can start our question and answer for this morning. Thank you. And if you are shy, you can also write on a piece of paper. No one will know you. So please come up, and then the second and the third also can just come up so we can save time, because we only have about an hour or so. So let's try to take advantage. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Vitaly, and it's my first retreat. And I've been studying and trying to practice for a couple of years now. And I have a very simple question. The Dharma teaching is so vast. There is so many things to learn and understand and remember. Eightfold Path, 5 contemplations, 5 trainings, 5 remembrances, and lists go on and on and on and on. 15 of that, 10 of this. If, like for a layperson, is there just one thing or couple of things to always remember, be aware of, that sort of encompasses the Dharma teaching? Thank you.
Dear Thai, dear community, dear Vitaly, I guess, channeling our teacher, I think he would say, just focus on your breath. Don't worry about all the numbers. Our basic practice is being aware that we are breathing and being able to follow our breathing. Being aware of our body, inhabiting the body, being aware of our feelings, being able to recognize them, and being aware of our thoughts, beliefs, habits. But it all starts with the breath. Our basic practice is awareness of the breath. And when we train ourselves in awareness of the breath, insights arise naturally. So we don't need to learn the things off by heart. That said, the other foundational practice in our community are the 5 mindfulness trainings. They give us the ethical guideline for living, and we never get to the end of those. We just keep practicing. So sometimes we can confuse knowledge with wisdom, or knowledge with embodiment. So it doesn't really matter how much we know. What matters is how we can apply the practice in our daily life. So walking meditation is not something we just do in the monastery. We need to do that everywhere we go. Everywhere we go, we try to be aware of our footsteps, the quality of our footsteps, the sound of our footsteps. Are we hurried? Are we peaceful? We do that everywhere. And of course we keep forgetting, but we keep coming back to it. And the same with the breath. Breathing in and out and really giving space for our breath. Noticing if it's long or short. And relaxing the body. Those are some things that we can focus on when we're beginning in the practice, and we continue to focus on them our whole life. Yeah, thank you.
Hello, thank you. I am Zan, and my question is about Thich Nhat Hanh's teachings on anger. And so he has said 3 things to tell the person who you're angry with. And I found it's hard for me to say that. Because I fear that if I ask the other person to help me, they will sort of think that's ridiculous and not want to have me as a burden. And the times that I have used this way of dealing with anger, I've written a letter to people in my life using this, and they have thought that I was maybe talking down to them or being belittling. So I would, yes, like to see how to deal with this maybe better. Thank you.
Did you say Diana? Yeah. Yeah, I find the practice of asking someone to help us, that's in the case they're already a practitioner. So in the community, for example, if we get angry at somebody, then I can write to my brother or sister and say, please help me. And we have a peace treaty that couples take to practice not to water the seeds of anger in each other. And so that's a kind of agreement, in a sense, that we make with each other. So I think I haven't ever asked somebody to help me when I'm angry who's not already familiar or part of the community in the practice. So, so the way I practice with anger is to see, first of all, that the other person is not the sole cause of my anger, but there are many conditions to my anger, and most of them have to do with my own habit and how I've watered the seed of anger in my own consciousness. And that person and what they said or did is only one small part of that whole thing. And so, first and foremost, it's my responsibility to take care of my anger, and not only my own anger, but also the anger of my father, my mother, my ancestors, which is in me. And so that's And we can ask our ancestors to help us too. That's the good part too. We have all these ancestors, our blood ancestors, our spiritual ancestors, so we don't have to feel alone. But if you're with somebody who you know already and is familiar with mindfulness practice, then it might be nice, not maybe in that moment, but in another time after the emotion is gone, and then there's a good and clear communication to make an agreement with each other. It doesn't have to be formal, but just say, I really would be so happy if you help me, because I know I have the seed of anger in me, and there are moments when you say a certain thing or you do a certain thing, and I know your intention is not to make me mad, but I'm still working on it. I'm practicing in that area, so I'd be very grateful if you could help support me. You see, you do that in a time, not in the moment of the emotion, but outside. And then I think people can accept that. That's very human. And so that's when or I find when I know that brother or sister, or I live in the monastery, so a lot of I don't. So in most cases in my daily life, I'm with people who are in the practice, and so there's already it's not that we agree necessarily, but because we agree to live in the monastery, we know that we all are practicing, hopefully. Tai said the only one requirement to be in a monastery, a practice center, is that you have to practice. So that is a kind of agreement that we have. And we can see the goodness in our anger too. The goodness of God's telling us something. Whenever we have an emotion, it's also telling us something about our own mind and where we've been putting our attention. So sometimes we think anger is, we just want to get rid of it, but I always say anger should be a full citizen in the community of emotional states, right, or mental formations in our mind. We have to recognize that if anger arises, that is an invitation to see what are the conditions that gave rise to that anger. What is it that is going on in our mind? Maybe we didn't get enough sleep. Maybe we have some indigestion. There's many conditions, physical, mental, that contribute to that anger. And also I practice, if I notice that I'm fixing on some person as a focus of my anger, that's very dangerous. Because that's how you get this kind of low-level resentment that builds up over time. And then that usually ends up in some kind of explosion. But it's not only an explosion in an instant, it actually starts to color every moment of your waking life. And that's not beautiful. So as I've learned to allow those emotions to circulate, not get stuck. And it helps me to see that that's where the practice of non-self really helps. You see the other person, they're not a separate self. You can look at them as a mirror of your own mind. When somebody is angry or they say something, instead of seeing it as like, this person has nothing to do with me, what if they are just an emanation of your own thinking? You can try that. It's very fun. You see, they're just telling you something. This person is there, giving you a message. And our normal response is just to get angry, and then they get more angry, and then it becomes like a forest fire of anger. But if we instead just see, it's like Tai said, it's like a crying baby. And you don't get angry at the baby for crying. You try to look and see why is the baby crying? What is that that's irritating it? Or is it hungry? Or does it have some sickness? So you can see that person who's angry as a kind of, maybe they need your compassion. So you're the one who can help. And compassion is one of the most beautiful mental formations, in my opinion. Because it allows us to see that not only, like if we say empathy, you just empathize. Oh, I empathize with why you're angry. And then usually then we just both get angry at the thing that person is angry with, and that doesn't really help. But with compassion, we learn to transform. We understand the other person's emotion, and we learn, because we've transformed it in ourselves, then we can help the other person through our deep listening and not reacting to their anger. We can help them to actually transform their anger. And that's very beautiful. They're very surprised. I've seen people like, they get, they're so angry, and you just, but like genuinely, it's not, that's why we practice smiling in the monastery. It's not like a fake thing. It's really, you learn to have a half smile because you do feel joy. Even when we're ill or a little bit irritated, we have joy. There's some joy in there, and so you can smile. And then you learn, and you're more at ease when somebody comes and blah, 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 you don't react with that same. You come to a place of stability and say, this is someone who's suffering, and you look at them, I want to understand their suffering so that I can help them to transform. And then with gentleness and ease, some tenderness, then it works. Okay?
Hello, my name is Amit. My question is how to manage your routine work-related stress and anxiety. Sometimes the stress and anxiety is caused by not just the problems, but even by the thoughts. I can give you a practical example. Once I wake up in the morning, I'm fine, fresh. Before I start my work, for example, if I have a 1 hour gap between wake up in the morning and starting my work, I get around 10 different thoughts that I have to do this, which, although those are not a problems, I can easily do them once I get into my work. But those thoughts of doing those things causes me anxiety. And as soon as I get back to my work, all anxiety is gone. I finish those work very easily, but that duration of an hour is a big problem for me every day. Thank you.
Dear respected Thai, dear community, dear friends, I think welcome to the real world. And I think that it is normal that we always have such anxiety. We want to complete things the best we can, maybe beyond our imagination sometimes. And when we keep feeding ourselves with those feelings, the anxiety will build up. But I'm happy that you already recognize that you can finish the work, complete the work at the end of the day. That should help you to build your confidence that you can handle things. But one thing we need to be careful is we have to be readily accept the fact that there are always things beyond our capability. It can come from many different conditions. It's a funny story, but when I was in the industry, in computer industry, and the bank in Germany has a problem that their system crashes every day, and that is devastating for them. So we gave them a solution, but they said, "Oh, it's a holiday. I cannot get anybody in there. It's illegal to have everybody in there." So we have to look at all the process and say, okay, during that day, you don't do this. You don't turn off these applications or turn on some applications and get it over. So things like that is sometimes drive us in the industry very hard. But it's also the fact that they probably have to accept the fact that if they go beyond the capacity of the machine, there is nothing we can do. And we have to break that news to them, right? And listen to their grief. And that's just the way of life. That's fact of life. So we have to be ready to accept those facts. And I think that since you gain the confidence already that you can finish the work, you just simply recognize it and live with that happiness. Use that to nourish yourself and comfort yourself and say, there's nothing going on. I can do this. And it just takes practice. Just like Sister Trinh Yim shared, if we hold on to our practice, we can do this. Thank you so much.
I first would like to thank you for this opportunity. I have two questions that are related. Oh, I'm sorry. I have two questions that are related. One is a personal question for any of you. How would you describe your evolution related to your breath and your embodiment since you have been practicing? How has it changed? And perhaps, how is it like to be you today? In the way in which you're practicing mindfulness, in which you're aware. And related to that, so I understand that I'm not my body, but that my body and mind are one. So the awareness, that pure awareness, how can we tell? Sometimes it feels like I'm thinking, I'm aware, but the difference perhaps between awareness and thought, and how to maintain that awareness. I mean, it is the practice of mindfulness. But how can we explain that paradox between I'm not my body, but body and mind are one?
I'm guessing it's my turn, and I get a double kill for two questions. I will try my best, but if my elder brother and sister and Uncle you have anything, please add in. For the evolutions, imagine we are like a child growing up. When we are young, or when we're a child, when we're hungry, we just cry. When we don't know anything, we just cry. And once we start to walk and understood what our parent is saying, we start to demand things. And then once we get older, we start to realize, okay, what is good and what is bad. So for my practices, before I came to the monastery, like any of us, it's like a novice, doesn't know anything. We walk, we sit, we eat, we just intention that, okay, we want to do it. But when we start practicing, we know that what is taken in have to be nourishment for body and mind. And as you said, body and mind are one. So the more I practice, the more I learn that if I were to rewind myself, slow down my steps, organize my life, it will help me feel more safe and calm at each moment of my life. As you said, I think back of when I was in college. There was a summer, and I was driving back from Santa Barbara, and someone behind me started flashing lights. And as a 19-year-old boy, having a driver's license just for 2 years, it kicked in that I wanted to race that with that person. So imagine driving from Santa Barbara back to Los Angeles within less than 2 hours. That's very fast. And be a young boy, that is unmindful. I can cause a lot of accidents. But now, coming to the practice, and as I'm driving each day, I notice that my action is much more safe. My thoughts up when I'm stopping at a red light, instead of punching some messages or doing something else, I just return to my breathing. And I know that a few seconds of stopping and reflecting, that just by breathing and nourishing my mindfulness, the next step would be more safe. And once I get home, that steps of mindful will contribute to my daily practice one step at a time. And that is the evolution that I see, that the more I practice, I can create more insight for myself in terms of my thoughts, my speaking, and my action. And that brings to the second question that I see that the difference between thoughts and awareness, that when you're thinking, it can be very, very fast. It's like a monkey swinging back and forth. Thoughts comes and go. But when you bring awareness to it, is that when you're thinking of something and your body is at that moment have the feeling of relaxing, and you feel that you are there and you're not losing yourself, you notice your emotion is neutral, or have like you are crying or you are sad. That is the big difference between thoughts and awareness. You are controlling what you are thinking by bringing this light shining into your thoughts. We have a lot of dreams and wanting to fulfill things, but if we are not mindful, we will lose ourselves in that. But in the practices, when we incorporate our steps, our breathing, and our daily practice, is by holding back the old habit energy that we are living. Imagine a trail in a forest. You've been walking for the past 30 years. That trails have been like, always you've been walking on that. But now when you come to our practices, you are learning to open up a new trail. And that trail is the awareness. And once you step over to this new trail, the old habit energy trail, in terms of suffering, despair, and then it will soon be covered with leaves and then grass, and then it will cover that, and then your new path of awareness in life will be open. So imagine if you have time, you sitting at home and drinking a cup of coffee or tea. Before, you would drink a cup and your mind would start losing itself, worrying this, worrying that. But now you learn that once you zipped, you can aware that, oh, this tea is hot, have a sweet flavor to it, a sour flavor to it, and then suddenly you have, oh, it reminds me of my grandmother or grandfather. So that awareness is the contribution of the practice that you've been learning. And you know that, okay, if I can enjoy this moment, the next moment will be beneficial. So living in the present moment is that awareness is different from our thinking, is that we know exactly what we're doing. And the awareness will help us limit the negative, what's the word? It will help us control the three karma, which, as I said, the thinking, the speaking, and the action. So that is a short experience that I see. Maybe Prophet Blue or Sister Jing can contribute.
Dear Thai, dear friends, I can't remember your name. Ezra, yeah. I'm going to talk about the second question that you mentioned, how to explain the paradox between I am not this body and body and mind are one. So actually, there's no paradox there. The teaching, I am not this body, is to help us understand that we are much more than the body alone. So we can think about interbeing, that the flower is in us, the sun is in us, the water is in us, the earth is in us, so we are not separate. So I am more than this body, I am made up of the whole cosmos. And also not to get caught in the idea of when this body dies, all of me dies. So we understand that we're made up of our three karma, as Brother mentioned, thoughts, speech, and actions. So those continue, they can never die. Everything we've ever done has already been done and is out there, has already had an effect on others and on the world. Everything we've ever said, likewise, has already impacted other people or caused other actions to happen. And everything we've ever thought also continues. So if we died right now, this moment, those things would all continue. They can't be undone and they can never get lost. So that teaching, I am not this body, is to help us not get too attached to this physical form. And that can help us not to be so afraid of dying or incapacitation. So there's no paradox there. The body and mind are one, is not in contradiction to understanding that we are more than this body. And the first question about how are we today, it's not easy to share how I am, but one thing I can say is that I've been practicing for about 20 years, and I've been a nun for 16 and a half years, living in the community. So when I joined the community, I wasn't aware of the sounds of my footsteps. I wasn't aware of the fact that I was hurrying everywhere. I wasn't aware of the fact that I had a frown on my forehead and I wasn't smiling. And you can see the lines that are proof of a lifelong of frowning. And I wasn't aware of that. I needed people to tell me, Sister Chinian, please smile. Sister Chinian, please slow down. Sister Chinian, please be aware of the sound you make when you come into the study room. So I needed the community's help for me to become more aware of certain things. And over time, just by force of practicing, I have become more aware of the beating of my heart when I'm upset or when I'm nervous, of my face flushing, of my hands trembling, of my stomach tightening. So just before I explode in anger, there's a rush of all of that. There's beating heart, blood moving. And I'm not yet there, but one day I hope I can recognize that and stop, But at the moment it seems like, boom, it's just there. And I couldn't stop it. So sitting up here today, I'm much more relaxed than I used to be. I used to be extremely tense and nervous, and now I'm able to calm myself down by following my breath. So all of these things are possible for all of you. You don't need to ordain in order to achieve that. You just need to keep practicing and taking the practice seriously. Because if we do practice and we maintain the practice, things change, we transform. Life gets better. Life gets better and better all the time. We learn to be less tossed about in the waves when things happen. We learn to recognize our strong emotions. We learn to recognize that our negative thinking is actually making us unhappy, and we can stop it. We learn to stop blaming others for our suffering. And that is a huge relief for ourselves and for the other people we're blaming. Short answer is just keep practicing and things will get better.
I just wanted to share, is it right, these headphones are just the main sound for people who have trouble hearing? Is that right? Those of us wearing headphones? Yeah. So because I don't know if there was an announcement. For those of us who are having trouble hearing, you can put on the headphones over there, and that way you can hear if you're having trouble hearing. I'm not sure there was an announcement, but is that right? Yeah, so anybody who's having trouble hearing, please get the headphones, and then you can be able to hear more clearly. I know there's a lot of echo in this hall, so I just want to make that announcement.
Good morning, dear Thai, dear brothers, sister, dear Sangha. My name is Marco. I've been practicing for 10 years. I received the 5 mindfulness trainings in the Magnolia Grove retreat during the pandemic. This was quite a surprise because I thought it was going to be a live Dharma talk, not a Q&A. But I'm really grateful because I'm really hurting today. And the reality is that with my partner for more than 30 years, 25 years being married, we've been having a really hard couple of years, very hard last year. We had a good conversation at the beginning of the year where she asked for space, which of course I felt, and I gave her and said, hey, let's of course work this other out. We've been together for all this time, and during the summer we had family come here, a lot of life changes. Our kid, of course, he was set to college, but now he's playing professional soccer in Mexico, and we're supporting him to do that as well. So a lot of changes happening. And when I came back this last week, she had a letter for me, and she read it to me, and I'm really grateful that she did. There's a lot to digest there. I think that there's a lot where I am, of course, taking my own responsibility of some of the actions, some of them that I didn't know that I was doing, that were causing harm, and some that, of course, I didn't feel that were happening. There was also some betrayal on her end, more of an emotional betrayal. She called out the person with whom she was having this more of an emotional story. Nothing physical happened, but she acknowledged that was happening. And had it not been for the practice, I don't know what I would have done this last week. I took a lot of times to breathe, to come back home. What I told her this weekend was that I needed time to process, because if there was one thing that I did not want to do was to take action and decisions that we both could regret. And if there was something that I have learned but have not practiced as well, is to lean on the Sangha. I think that I've been more of a lonely wolf practitioner. I've heard a lot of your Dharma talks, brother, and your deep relaxation, sister, is something that I go back again and again. But I don't think that I've leaned enough on the Sangha, and that's why I came in today, hoping more of receiving a live Dharma talk and not exposing myself and opening up space. But sometimes things happen for a reason, and I felt that this was the right time to do so. So I don't know where I'm at, but I just felt that what I wanted to do, if I really truly wanted to lean on the practice and the Sangha, was to share. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, brother. This is Paolo? Marco. Yeah, I was just, when you were talking, I remember the story Tai used to tell about a man who came from, or a couple that came from Bordeaux, and Tai gave the Dhamma talk, and then during the whole talk, the wife, she was crying, and Tai said to the man later, your flower needs more watering. And so then all the way home, he watered her flowers and recognized and appreciated her, and then, so that began the beginning of transformation in the relationship. So I think it sounds like a mindfulness bell, right? We can offer our joy. We don't need to have a reason. That's the wonderful thing about the practice. You can offer joy to someone, and you don't have to have any reason, except that is your practice. You just practice to offer joy. And that's what's coming up for me, listening to you. Just, especially in that way, there's no expectation that she's going to change, or you don't have much control over that, right? But in you can make the determination just to do, and small things. It's not like performative, right? Sometimes we're talking about that in the monastery. Like even the monastics, sometimes we're like performative in the way we practice mindfulness, and it's not real, right? You're not feeling it really from within. So just do it because you like it. That's why Tai always said, why do we practice walking meditation? Because we like it. It's not to bring world peace or, you walk just to walk. You enjoy it. And so the same is true of all of our Sangha schedule. If the Sangha is practicing well, everyone comes because they enjoy it. It's what they like to do. Nobody's forced to stay in the monastery, but we stay here and we follow the schedule because it brings us joy and happiness. And so in the same way, you can offer joy. Like coming here to Blue Cliff, I really enjoy the flowers. Like I know some brothers, they really, where I brush my teeth, the bathroom is a kind of old 70s style family house, right, where the brothers live. Kind of a bit drab from my perspective. But brother put some beautiful roses right there. And the brothers, just the monks do that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's great. It's awesome. I love it. I was brushing my teeth looking at the rose and I was feeling, wow, somebody really understands how to bring joy to the situation of the bathroom. You just put that pot of flower there and then take care of it. And then that brings joy to me, brushing my teeth. And so things like that is very careful. Or you look around and you see the flowers. I saw my brother Phupkoi, coming home with flowers the other day, and he was pulling them around in a cart. And he's like, yes, these are good ones for fall. Yes, you feel this love and care. And it's not performative. It's just, he also enjoys taking care of the flowers. That's a joy for him. He's not doing it with the expectation that you come and say, oh, how beautiful are your flowers. So I think that is really important to master, because when you're around somebody who has that genuine joy and it's joy for them to offer joy to others, you want to be closer to that person. You want to come and you go to the dining hall and you want to sit next to that person. It's just natural. And so I think that, bringing that element in and have it be spontaneous too, unexpected. Wow, it's like a surprise. It's that other story that Tai often told about the Lu box. Yeah, the kind of cracker cookie in France. You know that story? Anyway, I'll tell it a little bit for those. There's a man and a couple, and they lost the joy in their relationship, and so the man, he kept finding reasons to go on business trips, and so he was on a trip, and he would make them a little bit longer because it just didn't feel joy to come home. And so his wife, she found this while he said, I have to go away, and she said, okay. But anyway, while he was away, she found this a tin box, because in France they would used to come in a metal box. And inside that box were all the love letters that they had written when they were just getting to know each other and falling in love. And she just, one by one, she was reading those letters. And then it happened that after that, he called home to tell her that he was going to stay an extra few days on his business trip. But then he noticed her voice was so gentle and very soft, and he was very curious. Why does she sound like that? So then he wanted to come home right away. And so that, by reading those love letters, she remembered the joy and the spontaneity of their early relationship, and so it opened something. And then, that element, that joy that he had fallen in love with was revitalized. So I can't tell you exactly how you will do that, but that's for you. But I think looking into... I just add one bit. This is my own thing. I'm very curious. I always ask couples, or especially practitioners in our community, how did you meet? Because I often find that we tend to focus on the person, but actually it's usually many more things, the conditions in which we met that person. Like my parents, they met on a ski trip. So our whole family, we were a ski family. That was like our passion. We would water skiing in the summer, snow skiing in the winter. And that was something that like held the family together and brought us a lot of joy. Other people they meet, like my aunt, my uncle, they met in a bar. So they always like, you come to, I mean, I'm just telling it like it is. So you come to their house, they always offer you a drink. You know, like, do you want a martini? Do you want... It somehow plays itself out. So other people they meet through doing like social justice work, right? And so that's how they think of each other. So it's not only the person. So, you know, reflect on that and see how much you might have gotten caught in the image you have of her or your partner, and how much is also related to the activity, what you do together. That's how you water the seed of love and allow it to continue to grow. Okay, so good luck.
Dear Thai, dear community, dear Sangha, my name is Greta. I've been coming to Blue Cliff now for 2.5 years, and I have found so much joy and refuge in my practice and everything I've learned here. And over the summer, I was able to go on a hiking retreat at the EAIB in Germany, which was beautiful, and I was able to come to the family retreat here with my son. And it's been a very joyful and wonderful time of discovery. And yet, in the same time, I've lost my employment, and I've been working for about 15 years in technology and social justice, and that everything's shifting and changing in that area, and in very stressful ways. Conditions are changing significantly, and I feel overwhelmed by the ways in which technology is changing and society is changing with technology, and the way the power is changing so many things. And it's becoming harder and harder for me to find my livelihood in that area, technology and social justice. And when I sit in the mornings and I sit in the present moment, I feel the joy and the peace of my practice. And yet, when I sit down at my computer to try to work on the business I'm starting or look for work that can get me through so I can start my business, there's just a kind of a panic and overwhelm. And it's both personal and for my personal responsibilities of supporting my family, and then it's also everything I'm afraid of that's happening in the world. And I have a particular perspective on it. And so I'm looking for the way to integrate, I think, the practice and the feelings of peace and joy that I feel in my practice with what I need to do in the world. Because if I'm operating out of panic and overwhelm, it's hard to feel, I get scattered, I'm not focused, I'm not working mindfully. So if you have any, I would appreciate any ideas or advice on that. Thank you.
So dear Thai, dear Noble Sangha, I can contribute a corner of my experience. You said that you went hiking with your son, and he's here. Is he here?
He's here, but I didn't go hiking.
Oh, okay.
He was here for the summer.
I see. So you can think of, since you are now at home and have time, then you can spend quality time with your son by being with him more what you can. Before, you might be busy in your work, you might be stressful in your work, you might lose yourself in your work, but now the condition is sufficient that now you have more time to spend with your loved one. And if you see that this is the moment that can nourish the relationship between you and your son, then this is the thing you need to do first. And while you're nourishing that relationship, you can organize again what you need to do to fulfill the responsibility in terms of living. Sometimes the thing that we have, it might not be a good thing, and the thing that we lost is not a bad thing. You know that left and right is always there. Black and gray, or above and below. So everything is there for a reason. And if you can cherish each moment of what you have in hand, that is the gratitude that we can bring aware to our life. While you're sitting in the morning, you see the calmness and the nourishing that you spend time sitting. Then you can use that as a starting point for your day. And when you are cooking for your son, or going out dining with your son, or doing something with your son, use that as a time that you are being there with him. If for some reason a year from now you're busy in your work, he might remember, oh, last year or the year before I was able to spend time with my mom. That is the moment that I cherish the most. And he might say, Mommy, can we do that? Can we do this again? And certainly this is the bell awakening that, oh, before when I didn't work, I've spent more time with him. Now suddenly I'm busy again. So now I can be more mindful of the way I live and the way I work, so that I can be with him. So for my experience is that don't worry about what comes next, but take care of the present moment. Because right now you're healthy in a way. We have your eye can see things, you can hear things, you can enjoy life. Then take each moment of your time to be grateful that you can still do things, and you can still have time to come and visit us and learn the practices that you can bring home. And so just take one step at a time and be thankful that you can still do things. If you were to fall ill, you might not be there for your son. You might not even trying to plan anything ahead. So why not just rewind yourself and think that don't let perfect be the enemy of good. Don't set a goal that you cannot fulfill. Do seamless tasks, do seamless things, do simple stuff can bring happiness to life. Eating something, drinking something, going somewhere, doing something. So using that as a way of nourishing your body and mind so that you feel more alive. You're more happy. Do something, practice in a way that once you lie in your bed, your body and mind are calm and at ease. And you know that tomorrow morning is another 24 new brain hours for me to live. And I will take time slowly to fulfill. So that is one corner of my experience. And Uncle Yu might share his thought and experience in that.
Dear respected Thai and dear Sangha, dear sister, it's wonderful what Brother Tendru just shared with you. It's the definitely thing to do. The only thing that I would suggest from my own feeling is avoid any sort of conflict within yourself. Right? Any expectations that you want, you don't want to create some accept the fact instead of fighting within yourself, because that doesn't help at all. And then practice deeply. If you look around us, Thais always said that we can find a lot of happiness around us. We don't need to look very hard. And that, I think, that would be very helpful for you and your family to put into practice, that we are still blessed with a lot of things around us, and with things we already have. So that's all I want to add. And now, good luck. I'm sure it's a hard time, but I'm sure you will be over it. Thank you.
My name is Leslie, and I've been in the practice about 20 years. And I have a question that I've had for a long time. How does one deal with feelings of abandonment? And I guess in my family, there's like a legacy of it. Like my grandmother abandoned my dad, and my dad abandoned us. And so I'm very sensitive to like friends if they leave, or like say like a 30-year friendship dissipating, or like I just always want to connect with people and like maintain connection. And I know a Tibetan nun told me once not to abandon others. So like that's one way to deal with like I don't want to abandon others and not abandon myself, like hold myself like a child. Don't abandon the little girl. So I know those two things, but I don't know if you have any other insights. And it's hard to embody those. Like I know them intellectually, but sometimes it's hard to like feel that, you know. So anyway, I don't know if you have any other insights about dealing with abandonment. So thank you.
Dear Thai, dear brothers and sisters, dear friends, and Leslie. Well, the advice you've been given is already good, especially the not abandoning ourselves, our own little inner child. Sometimes what can help is understanding that that wound will always be there. That is a wound that can heal some, but will probably never go away. That will always be a sensitive point. And what's important is for us to realize when it's being triggered, when it's being touched. to recognize in our daily interactions when it's the little girl who's afraid of being abandoned, who's reacting. And that can lead to all sorts of behaviors like fawning, trying to get people's approval, trying to get people's love, trying to be accepted by others, wanting to be sure we've got friends. Those are all the little girl inside who's still afraid. And our task as practitioners is to cultivate that inner island where there are trees and birds and streams and sunshine and flowers and actually everything that we need. Everything that we need is inside. The question is, how can we access it? And it can be helpful to have somebody outside of us mothering us. That could be a therapist, that could be a mentor, that could be a counselor, a spiritual teacher. Somebody who can offer us the love, the unconditional love that we didn't get, and can help allay the fears that we'll be abandoned again. Maybe you just listen and you can write down later. Yeah. When we experience unconditional love, we can start to cultivate it within ourselves. If we've never experienced love and acceptance, it's very difficult to cultivate that for ourselves because we don't even know what it feels like. And sometimes somebody else's words can support us until we can say the same words. So if we hear somebody else saying, "You are enough, you are beautiful just as you are so talented, you are kind," or if we hear somebody giving us the words we can say to our little inner child, like, "I'm here for you, I know you're hurting, I know you're suffering, I feel your pain, come here, let me hug you. Come here, let me comfort you. I won't leave you like in the past. I won't leave you. I know you were abandoned and I won't let that happen again." So if you can find somebody to help you along the way, to give you the words that you can't yet say to yourself, that can be very helpful. They might come from a book, they might come from a talk, they might come from a therapist or a dear friend, any kind of mentor. So abandonment is something that so many of us experience: neglect, abandonment, abuse of all kinds. And it's important that we acknowledge the pain, but we don't over-identify with it. It is not the thing that defines us. We can take care of those wounds and heal them. And we also know that we are susceptible to having that wound touched. So I hope for you that you can find somebody to help you on that path, to offer the kind of love that you always craved and didn't get, to offer you the reassurance that not everybody is going to abandon you, and also try and make a commitment to yourself and your little inner child that you won't abandon them anymore. Yeah, thank you.
So thank you, Noble Sangha, for being with us this morning. We hope that between you and us, we have shared some experience and learned from each other. I see that in life, if we can open up our views more vast, that we see that we are interconnected. We are interbeing with each other. So you are not alone. When you come to us, we benefit from you and you benefit from us. What we can share, hopefully it can touch the seeds of awareness in you and give you some light in your practices. We also is a mirror of ourselves, and we can also a mirror to you. So when you have time and space, come to us so that we can learn from each other. We are not alone. Sometimes opportunities will always be there, whether we are brave enough to open that door and walk over it so that we can live more mindful or more happy. And so hopefully that we can see each other again. We are not alone. Blue Cliff is always be here. There's no gate. There's there's no passcode to come into the Blue Cliff. But if you want to stop by just for a simple lunch at 1 o'clock, vegan meal, and that nourish you, that is fine. So thank yous again. Thank yous, Uncle Yu, Sister Chingim, and Brother Blue for supporting Blue Cliff. And thank you all for coming here. We wish everyone a peaceful and joyful practice. Let us enjoy 3 sounds of bell, and then there'll be some short announcement. Thank you so much.
Hello, dear friends. You can unfold your legs as I make some brief announcements for everyone. Suko Trinim, you have something?
I'm so sorry. I feel like I forgot to say the most important thing in the last answer. Sangha. Sangha